Welcome to I Wrote This News. Today is February 2nd, 2022. Watch where you're stepping. We've got a big pile of news just for you. Story number 1. Trump claims he invented precursor to Wordle. Some of the White House records turned over to the House committee investigating the January 6th attack were ripped up by Donald Trump, the National Archives said. In a statement, the archives said, some of the Trump presidential records received by the National Archives and Records Administration included paper records that had been torn up by former President Trump. The archives did not say how it knew Trump had torn the records, but his habit of tearing up documents has been widely reported. In 2018, Politico spoke to Solomon Lardy, a records management analyst who spent time, quote, armed with rolls of clear Scotch tape sifting through large piles of paper and putting them back together, like a jigsaw puzzle. In my AI-enabled mind, Trump asserted, quote, people say that if it wasn't for me, there wouldn't be jigsaw puzzles. That's what some people say, and they say that without puzzles, there wouldn't be Wordle. It's no wonder that the failing New York Times bought the puzzle I basically invented. That's what I hear. I don't know, but that's what everyone is telling me. Story number 2. Rogan in hot water again, but says he likes his jacuzzi time. India Arie is the latest prominent artist of whom I've never heard to announce she'll be removing her music from Spotify because it platforms Joe Rogan, a podcast host who has repeatedly made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccine. Arie's departure from the service is over a different set of comments Rogan made. The R&B singer said in an Instagram post that Rogan's language around race was problematic, referring to a recent interview on Rogan's podcast in which he made offensive comments about African nations and said it was weird to use the term black as an identifier. Rogan brought up race in an episode of his podcast last week with guest Jordan Peterson, a Canadian psychologist, climate change skeptic, and bro dad. After a brief discussion of the spectrum of shades of people, Rogan said it was strange to call someone black or white based on their skin tone. Unless you're talking to someone who is like 100% African, from the darkest place, where they're not wearing any clothes all day, and they've developed all that melanin to protect themselves from the sun, you know, even the term black is weird, said Rogan, talking from his own darkest place. Story number 3. They all look the same to me. Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended from a U.S. talk show after saying the Holocaust involved, quote, two groups of white people. Ignoring all of that Hitler talk about a tall, blue-eyed, blonde master Aryan race that could only be achieved by pursuing racial purity and sterilizing or eliminating inferior races. The actress, TV personality, and namesake of an inflatable cushion said earlier this week on ABC's The View that the Nazi genocide of the Jews was, quote, not about race. On Monday night's The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, she attempted to clarify her comments, but instead dug herself a deeper, bigger, whoopsie-sized hole. She said the Nazis had lied and actually had issues with ethnicity, not race, which caused further offense. Goldberg took another swing at an apology on Tuesday morning, saying, the Holocaust is indeed about race because Hitler and the Nazis considered the Jews to be an inferior race. Goldberg has been suspended for 2 weeks. Story number 4. Not so well done, Golden Corral. A Friday night out turned into a melee in Bensalem at a Golden Corral restaurant. Now police are trying to figure out how it started. A former employee of the restaurant says he was told the fight may have happened after a customer became enraged when the buffet ran out of steak. I've never seen nothing like that in Golden Corral before, former employee Dylan Becker said, implying that if you're looking for a brawl, you're better off sidling on over to the Outback Steakhouse across the street. Video shared with Eyewitness News shows punches being thrown and high chairs flying as a fight breaks out inside the Golden Corral in Bensalem Friday evening. In the video, a man is heard saying, all I wanted was some steak. Make mine rare, so rare it never happens. Now it's time for On This Date in History. On this date in 1207, Terra Mariana, eventually comprising present-day Latvia and Estonia, is established. On this date in 1653, New Amsterdam, later renamed the City of New York, is incorporated. On this date in 1887, in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, the first Groundhog Day is observed. On this date in 1922, James Joyce's masterpiece And the Thing That I Read When I Am Trying to Fall Asleep, Ulysses, is published. On this date in 2005, Canada introduces the Civil Marriage Act. This legislation would become law on July 20, 2005, legalizing same-sex marriage. Celebrating birthdays today are comedian Tommy Smothers, chemist Mary Del Chilton, chef Ina Garten, the guy who played Data on Star Trek The Next Generation Brent Spiner, politician John Cornyn, bounty hunter and TV star Dwayne Chapman, model and actress Christy Brinkley, singer-songwriter Shakira, and Estonian footballer Jonas Tam. Happy birthday to all of them, and if your birthday is today, a very happy birthday to you as well. By the way, if you or someone you know is having a birthday and would like us to announce it on the show, leave us a voice message or send an email. The links are in the show notes. Today's news was brought to us by The Guardian, CNN, the BBC, CBS Philly, like the cheesesteak, and the website I go to more often than I go to the bathroom. And that's saying something at my age, Wikipedia. If you have a comment or a question about anything you've heard today, or if you have a suggestion, please send us a note at IWTN, all one word, at thatradioshow.com. That email address one more time is IWTN, all one word, at thatradioshow.com.
One more thing, if this podcast sounds a little funny, that's because it's also an experiment. All of the vocals were generated using AI technology. Hopefully the show will sound different and better as the tech improves and as we improve at using it. I'm Bob Neese, hoping you have an amazing day. We'll get together again soon.